Hi, I'm Jesse Sloan, Executive Director of the American Association for Medicare Supplement Insurance. And joining me is Chris Westfall. We're broadcasting live from the 2015 Selling MedSup Conference. Chris, thanks so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
So, I know that you do a tremendous amount of selling MedSup 100% on the phone?
Yes, that's right.
How long have you, well, first, how long have you been selling MedSup?
Been licensed since 1995 and got into the Medicare Supplement business in 2008.
And I'm assuming that the selling by phone has sort of been a slow transition.
It was very hard at first. Everything was done through the mail back and forth, but thank goodness there's been a lot of changes since then.
So what I'd like to talk to you about, I mean, every agent thinks they can do everything, but they obviously can't. And so while I'm not going to expect or ask you to give away every trade secret, I hope you'll share just enough that the average agent watching this will look and say, ooh, I know what I'm doing. So first, let's start with, how do you get the leads for people that you're ultimately going to sell over the phone?
I'd love to tell you that story, but
No.
it's a secret. No, we do it a variety of ways, actually. We have certain agents are very successful in generating their own leads with telemarketing. A lot of us outsource that process to people in the Philippines, Guyana, and other parts of the world. They're pretty successful.
Who are smiling and dialing for prospects.
Yes, indeed.
So folks turning 65?
No, actually, we like to focus on 68 to 74.
Interesting.
Yes.
Okay. I won't go further on that, but that's a very, sometimes it's always smarter, goes to doing things differently and getting better results.
Much less crowded.
Much less crowded, exactly. So you have a prospect, and you're now setting up the first call. Somehow you know them. What's the first call? Is it a one-call presentation? Is it setting up?
We try to do it in the first call, and if they're receptive to that, absolutely. But the challenge with selling over the phone is, and if you can imagine, just a normal person, not even a senior, who's more scared than anybody, because they're always told everyone's trying to take from you, everybody's trying to take advantage of you. As a matter of fact, during AEP, Medicare runs commercials that says, don't give out your Medicare number to anybody over the phone. So we have a very big burden to get over, and it's all about trust. Once we can bridge that trust gap, everything else is so easy, especially with the technology we have nowadays. I literally appear on their computer screen, I wave at them, I'm in a little box on the corner.
You're doing screen sharing.
Yep. And they can see me, and once they can see me, and they can see, this sounds weird, but once they can see me listen to them, that active listening where you're looking into the camera and you're just nodding your head and you're going along with exactly what they're saying, it's just like, and they lose themselves, it's just like you're in their living room, but they don't have to serve you any tea.
Are you finding, I guess probably, well, obviously you're having success, so people are receptive to the on the phone in that age group. Are you finding that they've done something like this before, or do you have to explain it first to them and say, this is what's going to happen. I'm going to send you an email. I'm assuming what you do is say, I'm going to send you an email at such and such time. You'll click on it and we'll be connected.
We try to remove any component that would be a source of resistance to them. So if I say to them, I'm going to send you an email, and they say, oh, I'm not good on my computer, that's okay. We've got another solution for you.
How do you do it?
I tell them to Google search my website, which is real easy, and they can put in a security code right there on the site. Instantly they're connected to me and they don't have to do anything else. Of course, if email's their preferred method to do it, that's great. They just click on the link in the email, and then I wave and smile at them. But more importantly than all that, again, we're building the trust gap, and that's the whole key to selling over the phone, is get into a presentation where you show who you are. Many of our speakers here this year have talked about building trust and credibility with testimonials and organizations that you're volunteering with and so forth. You have to do that so much more importantly over the phone to prove who you are. So I show a PowerPoint presentation that takes them through who my family is, my military background, my law enforcement background, the agency that I have, where my licenses are. And by the time we're at the end of that and they see me on the screen, it's just like I'm in their living room, and all the resistance is gone at that point.
Interesting. Do you, if you require husband and wife to often be on the phone, or just the person who might be qualified?
I find that probably 80% of the cases when we have a husband and wife situation, they're both on the phone anyway. They want to hear this information, and I'll say, is your wife there? Oh, she's already listening in. So in so many cases right now, they both want to hear all the information at the same time. And now they're using cell phones more often than not, and they'll turn it on speakerphone so they can see me and then hear on the speakerphone at the same
So
time.
they're seeing you on their computer
Yes.
screen, listening on, using two devices to
Works
hear.
very well.
How long is a typical online presentation?
About 45 minutes. If it's a person turning 65, I'll have my assistant kind of screen them, make sure they've got the information that they need, and then that enrollment process, believe it or not, is about 15 to 20 minutes with them. But we have a method where if they have questions about what's the best plan, how do I sign up for a drug plan, how do I get information on starting my Part B, and I've got a certain set of videos that's already canned in the hopper that explains it to them graphically and audibly. And so my assistant can send them strategically those certain things that answers those questions for them. The good part is they can watch them over and over, and they do.
Right.
And then the neat thing is they share that information with their friends, their relatives across the country.
There's no commercial message or identification at the end that would lead
It
somebody.
might be, my small call to action there. But by doing it by video, I find that especially with the turning 65, so many agents think that it's so laborious to go through the entire A to Z process. But if you can can that in certain segments and then strategically send that to them at the appropriate time, you're off signing up somebody else while they're getting the same education that you provided for them once.
Doing online enrollments for any, I mean, finding people very comfortable with that, or more comfortable?
Absolutely, and the key to that, I think, and we've done tests on this all over the last 8 years, and when they don't have internet and you have to do it sight unseen, and they have to give you their social security number, their Medicare card number, their date of birth, you can hear a tangible difference audibly with the resistance that's coming. But when they can see on the screen why you're asking that question, and you got to mix it up a little bit with some humor, like instead of asking the social security number, you say, and this is the point where I need your social surveillance number that they're tracking you with in Washington. They love it, and they can see why you're asking that question.
Because the form,
They're following and right along with it. And then it gets to the point where you're not even asking the questions anymore. They're filling out the application by telling you, here's my street address. Oh, that next box, put this in there. It's so easy when they can see what you're doing.
agents who still might be resistant to selling over the phone. I'm sure you've heard every one of their objections, oh, I can't, or I don't, or whatever. What would you say to them?
Try it once, you'll never go back. And, you know, we heard earlier today somebody talking about, I think it was Mutual Vermont, talking about the smart application, and you can't go wrong. Their application even goes out to Medicare and verifies that the information you put in is correct and it's legitimate. So those policies are issued within 3 to 5 minutes. It's incredible. Once you've done that process, I don't think any agent would want to go back to paper and going to get those corrections made over and over again. It's just too easy.
Good. I guess sort of a last tip, if you have it, for an agent that might be just starting out, and not the self-serving took about, contact us per se, but more if you looked and said, you should check out, I've checked out 3 different softwares for on-screen, sharing. You're just starting out, you want to try one, try this one versus that one. Couple of tips for the person who's never done it before.
And it changes all the time.
Of course.
That's the nature of our business. We have different carriers that modify their electronic application, and they make them easier, some make them more difficult. So my website, MedicareAgentTraining.com, we try to stay on top of those trends, and we're always trying new different technologies like CRMs and all that. But I would say the biggest obstacle to an agent starting is right here, in between their ears. They think they can't do it, so practice with somebody else. Call a friend, call a neighbor, call somebody where you can do a screen share and say, oh, that was so easy. And then it's just like doing any other presentation in somebody's home. You're live, you're on camera, they can see you. Your body language now plays a part. It's not just a phone call. So you need to act the part, and a little preparation would be good. And practice it until you perfect it.
Smart words. Well, thank you, Chris Westfall. Thanks for joining me today for the 2015 Medicare Selling Summit. The Selling Medicare Summit. Thank you. Great information.